and it's a pleasure once again to welcome you to yet another version of our Stakeholder Outreach Initiative by P3 World Council. We are enjoying this journey, and it is it is a pleasure to take you around the world to give you a pulse of the global markets as to how economies are responding to the entire COVID-19 pandemic, what has been the impact of it, how different markets have got affected, and especially since we at P3 World Council advocate for PPP projects, one area that we concentrate upon is PPPs, and that's why we are thinking about and we are exploring about PPPs as well. When we talk about the Latin American market, we have had the privilege to get some detailed and some insightful perspectives from the market of Colombia, from Mexico, and from Ecuador as well. Well, today we take you down south, and today we are in a country called as Peru. And joining us from Lima is Jaime Li. Thank you, Jaime, for joining us and for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our Stakeholder Outreach Initiative. Well, as before I begin, let me first give you a brief introduction about Jaime. Jaime Li is a lawyer. He is a master in regulation from the Universidad Peruana de Ciencias, Aplicadas, a former fellow member of the Organization of American States, OEA, from which he obtained a master's degree in public-private partnerships. He also has an international certification in financial management. He is a member of the World Association of PPP Units and Professionals, which is WAPPP, with University Extension Studies at Harvard University. He is currently working as an independent legal advisor to the PPP unit of the Ministry of Transport and Communications of Peru in the execution of PPP contracts. So one area Jaime specializes on is the legal and the contractual aspect, and we would love to understand from Jaime as to how the Peru market is evolving with regards to the PPPs. Well, Jaime, welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of the Stakeholder Outreach Initiative. To begin with, my first question to you is to understand how the market in Peru and how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted business environment in Peru in general. I mean, sector-wise, if you can help us understand, and also in context to PPP projects.
Well, thanks, Marshall, for the opportunity to share with you all the people who will see this interview. Well, first of all, by the pandemic, Peru's GDP will fall by 2% in this year. This is a very strong for our economy. Well, the sectors most affected by the pandemic are tourism, retail, and transportation. But Peru has been economic impacted because our economic activities are mostly informal. Okay. We don't have a very formal workforce. Okay. This is almost 50%. In PPP markets specific, the most sector impacted was transport. Okay. Because we have a very strong market of tourists. Okay. So the main airport in Lima was closed for 4 months. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And the highways too, because the people cannot go out of the cities for 4 months. That was very strong for our economy.
Okay. Okay. Does Jaime, does Peru have a formal PPP body or a PPP authority?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah. Does Peru have a formal PPP, I mean like a PPP body or a PPP authority under the ministry, or how is it regulated in Peru, the PPP projects?
Okay, the PPP project in Peru is very strong. We have one of the most frameworks in Latin America. Mm-hmm. We have one agency named Preinversión, who is the government agency who have the work to promote all that PPP projects are around the world, and then all the ministers have a specific PPP unit for their projects. I am in the PPP units of the Minister of Transportation and Communication. So we see the projects of airports, railways, ports, you know.
Okay. So there's one agency that overlooks all the PPP projects in Peru. Which are the sectors, as you just mentioned, I mean, tourism and transportation, basically, that have got affected because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, Jaime, can you please help us understand what are the challenges that the market in Peru faces when it comes to PPP projects?
Well, first of all, we have a gap of infrastructure of basic access around $159 billion. This is for our gap of infrastructure overall. Can compare with the development countries, but the sectors most in need of investment are transport, sanitation, health, water, communications, and electricity. But I think the most in need of investment is transport, because our gap of around $50 million of investment in transport. So I think that the transport is the most attractive sector for invest right now.
Okay, so transportation sector, as per you, you feel that it has a lot of potential when it comes to investments. What are the market challenges in general, Jaime, for projects as such? Any challenges that the market faces? I mean, which are the local challenges that you face?
Let me see. Okay, in the last year, all South America faced the most corrupt scandal in PPP.
Corruption. Okay.
Yes. The most. This scandal involves Peru, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, USA. So I think the social aspect is the main problem the country face when it comes to attract capital and investment. Okay. So the government is trying to show the benefits of the PPPs and establishing and stop anti-corruption regulation, but without generating more transactional costs.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, Jaime, what you mentioned, it is correct. Corruption, not only in Latin America, but in different parts of the world, it has affected PPP, not only PPP projects, but in general, people-centric mega projects, which involve high-ticket money, and governments are battling. But the places that have seen success of PPP projects, one of the reasons that we have seen is that they have managed to put up automation, or they have managed to get in regulatory and legal frameworks very strong that has helped them deal with the problem of corruption. And I'm sure Peru being a matured market and the way it has evolved, I'm sure the authorities out there would be taking some steps to manage and to curb corruption, especially when it comes to dealing with PPP projects. Well, having said that, Jaime, since now the markets are now opening up and PPP projects are the way forward, can you please help us understand as to how the government or the authorities are planning to deal with the training aspect or the capacity building or skill development of young professionals or young graduates, for PPP ecosystem? I'm sure there would be some plans. So can you please help us understand on that?
Well, in Peru, the capacity building is very strong.
Okay.
Since 5 years ago, maybe, because our PPP regulation is new. We start with the PPPs officially in 2008.
Okay.
So we're very young in PPPs, just 12 years, but it has helped to officials responsible for decision making in PPP contracts to act in a technical and sustainable way.
Okay.
This generates predictability and investment security regarding what the public professionals' response will be.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the government is taking steps with regards to the skill development aspect and the training of young professionals
Yes.
to understand what are the challenges. In fact, when we are speaking to different PPP units and different stakeholders in different continents, one area that we are finding that is needing importance, I mean, that is needing attention is to provide trainings on specifics like project financing, financial modeling, rather contract management. So there are different aspects, where the trainings are required. With regards to the legal aspect, Haim, I mean, since you deal with the contracts, I mean, that is your specialty. I mean, you are a specialist on contracts and legal aspect. So can you help us understand how is the overall legal framework and contracts aspect in Peru for PPP projects? What are there any challenges or how it has evolved? If you can help us understand.
Okay. You are talking about the most important legal aspect.
Legal aspects. Legal aspects.
Okay.
Yes.
Consider we are new in PPP contracts. We are now gain experience. So our clauses are not so mature now. Okay. So by the pandemic, we'll have a lot of problems with the mature clauses.
Okay. So I mean, you mean to say that it is quite new and it has time to evolve, and it will certainly evolve. That's what you mean to say with regards to the legal aspect of the PPP projects. Okay, all right. So, Haim, what I'm understanding from our conversation is, just to briefly summarize our conversation, is that Peru is an open market, and certainly the sectors that has seen the impact of COVID-19 are tourism, infrastructure, construction sector, roadways, and especially PPPs and the other projects that are running in these sectors. Especially even retail has got affected. And when do you see, Haim, just to have a closing question, when do you see a recovery of this slowdown that is there in the market right now in Peru because of the pandemic? So when do you see the markets coming back, or when do you see the recovery? I mean, is it like in the next 6 to 8 months or longer than that?
The market in Peru will be a very low recover. But in PPPs, the government are doing a lot of regulation to stimulating the reinvestment, and try to the private partners get more. I don't know how to say English. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. What I'm just to give you a perspective, viewers. What Haim is mentioning is one area that the government is definitely giving a boost is to invite foreign investments or international investments in the local markets. So that is one area that the government is actively considering in different sectors. That's what Haim is mentioning. Haim, since he works with the Ministry of Transportation and Communications, that is one key area that is seeing key investments and key PPP projects that would be announced in the coming days to come. But however, considering the economy of Peru, we definitely expect to see a market recovery in the next 6 to 8 months, rather, when global markets open up, travel starts. definitely we would certainly see some good recovery in Peru as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Transport, transport is the most sector indeed with investment. We need $50 billion of investment.
Yeah.
This is a lot of investment.
Yes, exactly. There are different. See, the one thing that is one thing is to understand here is Peru is an emerging market. The economy is definitely transforming, as well as the demographics are changing. It's a young population, as across the Latin America. Most of the countries have a fairly young population, and this young population is demanding change. I'm sure, Haim, you would certainly agree on this, that even in the area of digital transformation, like fiber optics, I'm sure the government would be taking some steps in not only through PPPs but through other mediums to increase digitalization or increase of internet penetration in the country. So that's one area which is very important. And these are the areas which certainly speak out that yes, the market is hungry for growth, and it's just that a proper channelization is needed. But definitely, yes, as Haim has mentioned, we see positive outlook for Peru, and certainly, Haim, we would promote the Peru PPP ecosystem to our global stakeholders and investors, and certainly the market is lucrative enough. So thank you so much, Haim, for sharing your views with us. Thank you for giving a perspective about the Peru market in general.
Thank you, Harshal.
Thank you so much
See you next time
with us. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, Haim, and we look forward to be in touch with you. We look forward to visit Peru as well, to explore PPP investment opportunities for our stakeholders.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haim. Have a good day.